Digestion and absorption are the two key goals of the digestive system. Digestion is merely the chemical and mechanical breakdown of food, so we can gain access to the macromolecules, nutrients, vitamins, minerals, water to be absorbed into our bloodstream. Absorption is it's moving products from the digestive tract, which is one long tube, moving it from the lumen of that tract into the bloodstream. Digestion and absorption. So let's do a quick review of the organs and accessory organs of the digestive system. We have the digestive tract, which includes the mouth, pharynx, which is blocked really here by the parotid gland, the esophagus, the stomach, the small intestine, which includes the includes the duodenum, jejunum, and ileum, and then the large intestine, which includes the ascending colon, transverse colon, and descending colon, giving rise to the rectum and the anus. There's accessory organs that help with digestion, such as the liver, the gallbladder, the pancreas, which we can kind of see right here between the transverse colon and the stomach, and the glands, the parotid gland, submandibular gland, and the sublingual glands. And certainly I can't forget the teeth and the tongue, which play a part in digestion. So the digestive tract, as I just outlined, goes from the mouth to the anus. The GI tract is merely the stomach and everything inferior to that. Small and large intestine, rectum, and the anus. So the only difference between the digestive tract and GI tract is what's above the stomach, which is the esophagus, pharynx, and oral cavity. By and large, the entire digestive tract is made up of the same types of tissues. And that's what this slide is showing. Full disclosure, I've stolen this off the internet because this is the best image I could find. It has some nice color coding that's going to allow us to follow this. But in short, there's three main areas. There are four main areas that make up the digestive tract: a mucosa, a submucosa, muscularis externa, and a serosa. And that is from the innermost part of the tube to the outermost. So the innermost part is a mucosa. The outermost part is a serosa. So we have mucosa, submucosa, muscularis externa, and serosa. So here is the mucosa right here in pink, yellow, and then another pink layer towards the interior. The most interior, the layer that's facing the lumen, and this is the lumen right here, that is what digestive products pass through. Once food is broken down and swallowed, it's known as a bolus of food. Once it enters the stomach and proceeds inferiorly, it is known as chyme. And the bolus of food and the chyme pass through the lumen in the same manner that blood passes through the lumen of a blood vessel. So the innermost lining, the pink area, is the mucosa epithelium. The great majority of the epithelium of the digestive tract is simple columnar, with the exception of the mouth, pharynx, esophagus, and anus, all of which display stratified squamous epithelial tissue. In yellow here, we find the underlying connective tissue, known as the lamina propria. It's loose areolar connective tissue. And then outside of that, we have a muscularis layer known as the muscularis mucosa that we see in pink. In green here are some lymph nodes. There's some other lymphatic tissue within the mucosa known as MALT, mucosa-associated lymphatic tissue. Outside of the mucosa, we find the submucosa. And the submucosa is connective tissue littered with blood vessels, lymphatic vessels, nerves, and there is also some lymphatic tissue, some MALT within the submucosa. Outside of this blue area, which is the submucosa, we find the muscularis externa. And there are two layers to this. The inner layer is circular muscle that is running around the circumference of the GI tract. And there is a longitudinal layer that runs the length of the GI tract. And these help with movement, with peristalsis, which is the rhythmic contractions of the GI tract, allowing the bolus or chyme to move from point A to point B. And then the outermost layer is the serosa, which is composed of connective tissue, and the outermost layer, which we see in yellowish right here, which is simple squamous epithelial tissue, also known as mesothelium. So the four layers, once again, are the mucosa, submucosa, muscularis layer, or muscularis externa, and the serosa. So one thing I want to point out right here is there are two nerve plexuses that we find throughout the digestive system. There is one known as Meissner's plexus, which we see right here. That's associated with the submucosa. And there's the Auerbach's plexus right here, which is associated with the muscularis externa. It actually lies in between the circular layer of muscle and the longitudinal layer of muscle. Auerbach's plexus is responsible for controlling peristalsis. Meissner's plexus is responsible for movement of the innermost mucosa and of glandular secretions. So we do see glands here in the submucosa, and we'll talk about those in a subsequent video. Auerbach's and Meissner's plexus make up what is known as the enteric nervous system, which is the nervous system dedicated to the digestive system. While it is accompanied and influenced by the central nervous system, it can function autonomously without any influence from the central nervous system. There's over 100 million neurons in the enteric nervous system, and that is more than the spinal cord. Next video, we'll talk about circulation of the digestive system.